Good morning. Sunday morning.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Good Morning, Sunday Morning. The science matters. Science. We want a vaccine. A vaccine will make us go back to normal. Those were the chants in the lines of the left, the Democrats, in 2020. Now, at the end, as Donald Trump sadly helped with the terrible push for a rush vaccine, a first of its kind, the Democrats once spoke of forcing it on everyone. Now, Jerusalem Post reports, could mRNA COVID-19 vaccines be dangerous in the long term? Israelis celebrated on Friday when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that the country had signed a deal with Pfizer Inc. to buy its novel coronavirus vaccine, but the fact remains that if Pfizer succeeds, or Moderna, with whom Israel also has a contract, these will be the first ever mRNA vaccines brought to the market for human patients. In order to receive a Food and Drug Administration approval, the companies will have to prove that there are no immediate or short-term negative health effects from taking the vaccines. But when the world begins inoculating itself with a completely new and revolutionary vaccine, it will know virtually nothing about their long-term effects. Quote, "There is a race to get the public vaccinated, so we are willing to take more risks." End quote. Tal Bruce, the head of the infectious disease unit at the Samson Asuta Ashbad Hospital, told the Jerusalem Post. Now, when Moderna was just finishing the phase 1 trial, the Independent wrote about the vaccine and described it this way, quote, "It uses a sequence of genetic RNA material produced in a lab that, when injected into your body, must invade your cells and hijack your cells' proteins-making machine called ribosomes to produce the viral components that subsequently train your immune system to fight the virus." End quote. Now, in this case, Moderna's mRNA 1273 is programmed to make your cells produce the coronavirus infamous coronavirus spike protein that gives the virus its crown-like appearance. Corona is crown in Latin, for which it is named, wrote the Independent. Now, Broche said that this does not mean the vaccine changes people's genetic code. Rather, he said it is more like a USB device, the mRNA, that is inserted into a computer, your body, and it does not impact the hard drive of the computer, but runs a certain program. But he acknowledges that there are unique and unknown risks to the messenger RNA vaccines, including the local and systematic inflammatory responses that could lead to autoimmune conditions. An article published by the National Center of Biotechnology Information, a division of the National Institutes of Health, said other risks include a biodistribution and the persistence of the induced immunogen expression, possible development of autoreactive antibodies, and the toxic effects of the non-native nucleotides in the delivery system components. Broche compared the mRNA vaccine to traditional vaccines such as those for influenza, which use an inactive virus that was destroyed by heat or chemicals to elicit an immune response without the infecting the recipient. Others, such as measles for mumps, or used a weakened virus that is unable to hurt you but can still train your immune system to fight it. Oxford University's AstraZeneca, the Russian Sputnik V, and the Israel's Institute for Biological Research's BriLife are all based on more traditional technologies. But Michael Leno, a professor of biological chemistry at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, told the Post that she believes there is no cause for concern. Leno explained that mRNA is a very fragile molecule, meaning that it can be destroyed very easily. If you put mRNA on the table, for example, in a minute, there will not be any mRNA left over. This is opposed to DNA, which is as stable as you get. She said that this fragility is true of the mRNA in any living thing, whether it belongs to a plant, bacteria, virus, or human. As such, she said, the worry should not be that the mRNA won't get into the cells and instead will stay outside, floating in the body, causing some kind of reaction. Rather, the concern should be that if it doesn't enter the cells, it will disintegrate and therefore be ineffective. She said that while Moderna and Pfizer are based on new vaccine technologies, they are asking our bodies to do something that they do every day: protein synthesis, the process where cells make proteins. Moderna and Pfizer are simply delivering a specific mRNA sequence to our cells. Once the mRNA is in the cell, human biology takes over. Ribosomes read the code and build the protein, and the cells express the protein in the body. Leniel said she believes that the reason no mRNA vaccine has been developed yet is that because there's just no need to move this fast on a vaccine until COVID-19 came along. She noted that most of the vaccines people take today were developed decades ago. She said her concerns have less to do with the use of the mRNA and more to do with the long-term efficacy of the vaccine, as well as other challenges that could cause something to go wrong and lead people to believe that they are vaccinated when they are not. For example, she said that because mRNA is so fragile, the Pfizer vaccine must be stored at negative 60 degrees Celsius. If the ideal environment is not maintained, the vaccine could spoil and become ineffective. In addition, she said several questions remain, such as whether these vaccines will really be able to mount a sufficiently protective immune response and how long that immunity would last. Quote, it would be the worst scenario if people behave like they are immune but can still become infected, end quote, Lionel said. Broche added that the country and the world should be cautious about any of the vaccine candidates until the final results of the phase 3 trials are peer-reviewed and published. But he said that once those studies are published and the vaccines approved, it will be okay to take them. Quote, we'll have to have a safe profile for a certain number of months. So if there's a long-term effect after 2 years, we cannot know, Birch said, adding that we could wait 2 years to discover them, but then we would have the coronavirus for 2 more years. Lionel expressed similar sentiments. Classical vaccines were designed to take 10 years to develop. I don't think the world can wait for a classic vaccine. But when, that was end quote. But when asked if she would take the vaccine right away, she responded, I won't be taking it immediately. Probably not for at least the coming year, she told the Post. We have to wait and see whether it really works. So there you have it. Many are not wanting to even take it themselves. This is the funniest thing when it comes to many in the medical doctors that talk about this coronavirus vaccine. They understand that we are the guinea pigs. They understand that they would become the guinea pigs if they would take it before any actual studies. It's not been tested on humans. It's a new vaccine, and nobody has even had years withstanding this new creation. We have no idea what the long-term effects are. I'd recommend that nobody go and be a guinea pig. Stand up and be a human with human rights. Free men and women don't become guinea pigs. We don't stand for the masks. We don't sell or support any of the instruments of evil. Free men understand that freedom starts where you act. Your actions are important. All the tyrants, all the mayors, the governors, the councilmen, the councilwomen, the corporations, the businesses, human rights exist. They are They exist for us all. You can't ignore human rights.